Hi, intro students. I want to start our first lecture. Now, you should have gotten through our first announcement, watched our videos to kind of orient us to the course. Now, we're in our first lecture, this do this second, this is our second announcement, is week 1, day 1, which is Monday. This is a first day of the week. We're doing introductions, and you're going to watch a lecture video. I'm going to talk about a couple artworks that are hopefully going to spark a dialogue that you're going to respond to. Okay, so you're going to respond using Loom, and you're going to answer, give me your brief thoughts in about roughly 5 minutes if you want on this intro lecture, some of your initial responses to some of the questions I'll pose during the lecture. This will be due week 1, day 2, which is our Thursday due date. And in addition to that, you're going to make sure by this Thursday as well to complete your student agreement form, which I've linked here. And if you want to buy or purchase a hard copy of our text Ways of Seeing, start thinking about doing that now. I'm going to, again, give you that as a PDF, the entire text. So if you want to watch it or read it digitally or print it out yourself, that's totally your option. If you want to have the book, it's very cheap. You can buy them used for about $5. So your call. Now, this Loom question, I'm gonna just so we're trying to orient ourselves to the format. It'll show up as an upcoming assignment. You're gonna have this question right here. I'm gonna link to it right now so you can see. When I go to this question on your end, it should show as a question like this, and you're going to answer it by recording a screencast of your audio and video, or just audio if you don't want video, where you're answering and thinking about some of the things that I've posed, and you're going to submit the URL to this question from Loom. And that makes it available not only to me, but to the rest of your classmates as well. All right. Now, coming back here, you're also going to see the student agreement here as well. Okay. Now, when I go back to our front page, our home page, I'm going to open up a couple of these images here, Tom Friedman and Mauricio Catalan's work, but I'll start with Tom Friedman's here. When you select this, hopefully it opens up as an image. I've noticed that it comes to something like this. If you find that these 3 dots up here where it says more actions, you can select that and open it up in a new window, and it should open up as an image. Now, this is a scanned image that I took out of a text, out of a book, and this is an artwork by Tom Friedman. It's titled Untitled, Ink on Paper, and starting an old dry pen on a sheet of paper is a subtitle to this title, and it's roughly 12 by 18. So if you think about 2 sheets of paper put together, that's 11 by 17. So it's roughly in that size. Now, coming back to this image, what you're looking at, and you can see here, is sorry, my cat is bothering me and distracting me a little bit. Must be hungry. Now, we're looking at this image, and it is what it sounds like, right? What he titled it is starting an old dry pen on a piece of paper, and that's what it is. You can see the engraving of this dry pen, this etching, and then or scratches or scribbles, and then once some ink came out, he stopped. Okay. Now, a couple things that come up to mind usually for students, it's pretty intense when I tell them that at the time In, I think this is late 90s, the artwork went to what's called Christie's Auction House, which is an auction house selling artwork, and it sold for $26,400. Okay, and I'm sure it's worth even more now, significantly more probably. Now the things we'll talk about here, I'm interested. I want you to give me some of your thoughts on what that felt like to know that what is, inarguably a very kind of simplistic looking and simple image, right? And a representation done very simply, and something that many of us probably have done at some point, would go up for that kind of money. Now, not go up, but also sell, right? Someone purchased that. Now, the things that I really want you to consider are some of your knowledge of the process, how that comes to be, right? How did that artwork get to Christie's auction house? How much of this dollar amount did Tom Friedman actually make as the artist, right? Do you know the process by which an artist is able to have access to Christie's auction house and has the ability to be sold, right? Those are all things that I want you to factor into when you start to think about Tom Friedman's intention for this artwork. What's the meaning of the artwork? What's he trying to say? What's the artwork attempting to say beyond Tom Friedman's intentions? Like, does it exist and start to become or mean something different than maybe what the artist intended it to do? I'm not sure about some of those things necessarily, because they're things that are outside of our realm of or our access to know, but they're things to consider, okay? And question. Now, that's going to be something I want you to respond to. Now, I'm going to move on to Mauricio Catalan's work, which is titled Comedian. And this is the one that I brought up in my presentation to you in the fall when talking about the course. This is called Comedian, and it is what it looks like. It's a banana that's been duct taped to a wall. Now, this is a temporary gallery wall at an art fair called Art Basel in Miami that happens yearly. Okay, it's a big fair where galleries and collectors present their works of artists that they either represent or the works that they own, and people can purchase them there directly or or network ways of collecting or trading or doing whatever they want with their artworks. All right, so it's like a trade show or trade fair of some sort for artists or collectors, artists galleries, and so on and so forth. So the things that I want to discuss in lieu of this, and it's one of the articles I link to here is from ArtNet News, and this was published in December 10th, 2019, but the artwork sold for $120,000, right? And those numbers are pretty astronomical, but the idea of presenting something that's very simplistic, that's found in the world, that the artist didn't craft this banana or craft that duct tape, but the combination, the idea of it, he definitely did. But the idea of selling something that's ready-made like that, and I use that term ready-made because we're going to talk about Duchamp in this course next week, it's really critical. It's important to understand and know, all right? So this has a lineage, and it's a lineage that's been around for quite some time, and the reference here to Warhol and Andy Warhol's soup cans is a pretty clear way of saying this isn't anything new. Okay, there is an absurdity here, but this is also maybe about something. So one of the things that's hard and difficult as we move through this course is that we're going to be presented with work that might sometimes be about the art world. It might be about that specific context of the Art Basel and the absurdity of selling some of these things. So Mauricio Catalan is playing a prankster or joker in this sense. Those are some real themes that run through some of this work. All right, and however cynical that might sound, that's some of what's happening. Now, I threw in here some counters, right? This is someone who's thinking or is kind of counter to Tom Friedman's work being sold for what it is. This is a really nice article or play or criticism of the work by Mauricio Catalan. This is by an artist group called the Guerrilla Girls. Guerrilla Girls have been working for decades now, and they're a group of women who only present themselves in public as gorillas. So they're always wearing gorilla masks to kind of mask their identities. But they are selling on their website unripened green banana, found objects, banana and duct tape, 8 by 8 inches, right? Comes with certificate of authenticity and a healthy dose of feminism. Warning, item is perishable as it is feminism if people ignore the history, and as it is, wait, I'm not saying that correctly. Item is perishable as is its feminism if people ignore the history and social significance of the banana. And it's sold for, or it's selling, you can actually add this to a cart and buy it for $120,000 with one extra dollar. And it says, funny how men always think they invented the banana joke. Okay? So there's a kind of inner world play between Mauricio Catalan's work and other artists who would criticize that artwork or that art world. Now, I'm going to keep it at that for right now. I'm just going to throw out some of these thoughts, because if we were in a kind of face-to-face lecture, we would banter back and forth. But I'll come back to some of your thoughts and hash, kind of aggregate some of your ideas and try to answer some in a next lecture. But this is a good way of starting some dialogue. The main thing I want you to focus on, the main thing I really would like to see in your responses is teasing out and being honest about your reaction to these artworks, but then also being critical of maybe some of your assumptions, and see if you can tease out some of those assumptions. All right, look forward to seeing your response.